Hello, everybody. Good morning. Happy Easter. This is video 824. It's going to be an experiment. I just noticed when I wear my headphones, I couldn't hear my voice. So it sounded really kind of funny. And maybe I still do. Um, a couple things that kind of popped up before I run out of time. Um, I noticed today my neighbors have little kids. And, well, actually, a lot of people on my block. I live in a duplex, which is kind of like an apartment complex. You have lots of families. Anyway, so there's a part of me that hurts because, you know, for a couple different reasons. One, I lament a lot of the times that, you know, when I was much, much, much younger, just a wee lass, and, I got to see my cousins and my sister, obviously. We were kids. We were little kids. Easter Sunday. My sister would get fussed over her hair, and I guess she would wear Easter dress and Easter shoes and everything. And I guess so much of the holidays. Maybe it is the same for little boys, but I didn't get to experience it. I watched it, much like maybe you watched it. And, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to watch little girls be little girls, but part of me is like, oh, I wish I could experience that. Maybe if there is such a thing as reincarnation the next time around, although I don't remember my last life, I don't think I'll know about the next one, so kind of not going to win anyway. And then the other thing that kind of gets me down, my baby, my daughter, when my ex-wife and I separated, there's a lot of things that my daughter didn't get to experience. When she was younger, yes, Easter egg hunts and the dress and the shoes, but it just again it makes me feel bad that maybe I didn't provide for her. And granted, it's any divorce. I think you're gonna have that, but I know that I did the best I could with what I had, you know. So, kind of this morning, I kind of have a lot of poo poo caca feelings. The only thing I can say. Um, Counterbalanced by how great I am, how great I feel to be me. Okay, to finally be myself. That's the trade off. Um, but something else I wanted to kind of talk about was, we this journey is different for each of us, although we do kind of have some common milestones. And lately, well, my voice is starting to crack. There's a lot of stuff right now going on about book banning, and one political party in particular seems to be hell bent on calling anything that's LGBT, trans as pornographic, da 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 da, groomers, blah 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 blah. But I think back to my childhood and as I grew up into a teenager and a young adult, and how lucky I was to finally on the internet, when the internet kind of like came into being, I found there were others like me. I found out that how I felt was not wrong. Um, that being transgender was not wrong, that I was not alone. And, I yesterday kind of had another moment of illumination where one of my other friends, shared some of their thoughts. And, we all kind of like push the envelope somewhat, whether it be, I know for me, it was kind of cross dressing initially. Um, I was in the Air Force and didn't really have much of a chance, but when I did, ooh, I can remember. I can remember shaving my legs in the shower. Ooh, um, and so afraid of being discovered, you know. And then walking around in my uniform, and it was my little secret, I had shaved legs, I don't know. Not a sexual thing, just ha ha ha, nobody else knows. But, kind of what I want to say is that not that it's important to have those resources, but here in Kentucky, the the state legislature voted to give. I don't necessarily know the mechanics of it, but they made it so that politicians can decide who runs the libraries and what books they contain. There really is a lot of thought control, a thought police, the thought police somewhat. Thank goodness we have libraries and the internet. That was kind of the thing about the book Fahrenheit 451, was that they burned books because they didn't want any evidence, they didn't want any proof. Banning books was not enough, and to burn the books. And, it is, can you imagine, instead of having the access to the internet or to books or to people, not being able to realize that what you feel is not shameful, disgraceful, that all these other things. I mean, I didn't come to that realization till I was like 23, 24. And so, from the time that I was in middle school till, my second year of college, I was putting myself through my own personal hell. And then it was like, you know, oh, I'm not crazy, you know? So, we can easily get caught up in political rhetoric, but these are really some scary times, you know? And I think it was in the movie Blazing Saddles when I think the town, Rock Ridge, was going to give up or something, and Bart was like, "Can't you see this is the last act of a desperate man?" And one of the townsfolk said, "I don't care if it's the last act of Henry V. I'm out of here," or something like that. But, I think these people, and unfortunately it's kind of Republican politicians, kind of have their back up against a wall right now, you know? For a long period of time, they've been saying one thing to kind of pander to one group of people and one ideology, you know? And in my lifetime, I've seen it go from being uh, evil, discouraged, queer, to now being this spectrum, of acceptability. And here you have one group of people who, back in this other period of time, they had a lot of power and control. And now it's like they're threatened and they're lashing out, you know? And probably always have people like that. You know what it reminds me of? Is like the people that used to argue for the Confederate flag. Okay, the battle flag of the Republic. Not that. Oh, the Confederate battle flag. Okay, the Confederate flag. You know, in the last 10 years, how that has changed. And I think the people who now are like staunch ban the books. You're indoctrinating my children. You're um, pornography, groomer, da 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 da. I think they're on their way to becoming like the Confederate people. They're always going to be there, and they'll probably have a good argument, good, from their point of view. But it's past its time. You know, it doesn't mean the battle's over. It doesn't mean the next couple of years are not going to be rough. But I think that tide's turned against them. You know, in the last week, 2 weeks, the Pope came out like 2 weeks ago and said something about, don't, it's not right to make LGBT people feel shameful. And that's huge. And then this last week, there was a Catholic bishop here in the United States who had kind of the same kind of message. I mean, who would have thought the Catholic Church would be more of an advocate for LGBTQ stuff? You know what I mean? I mean, they're like the Inquisition, right? Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects Spanish Inquisition. So anyway, I'd say time is things are changing. Things are changing. Then one more thing, and then I'll kind of cut you loose. Um, and this is in regards to what I've been doing for the last week, two weeks. Hard to believe it's been just 2 weeks. It's been a lifetime struggle. You got to pick your battles, and I'll give you an example. Okay, yesterday I was in heaven all day long because I was in my space this way, kind of like I'm doing right now. Okay, but I knew my daughter didn't like it, and I talked with her therapist. I talked with my therapist. This is a lot like somebody getting a haircut that you don't like. You can't really say no. You can only say I kind of don't like your haircut. You know, that's kind of how I look at this. Me using this voice, okay, as opposed to my own voice. Um, but like this morning, okay, my daughter was in a mood, and I gave up. I switched back to my other voice. I listened to what she had to say, and as time went on, I went slowly back into this voice. Okay, by the time she left, um, I was back into this voice again. So it's kind of like pick your battles, I guess. And, definitely like anything else, it's going to take time to get where you want to be. I'm not to the finish line yet. I still have some work to do. But I think I've gotten to the point that, ooh, well, I'm getting a little off. Getting to the point that, I'm in that learner's permit phase. I'm going to get better and better and better the more that I go. But it's important to, I think, again, be aware of your surroundings. And there's going to be other times, like this morning, where uh, I put my daughter's welfare first. And I recognized what her needs were. So I'm going back down now. Recognize what her needs were. and made the adjustment, and kind of easing into it. That's something that we had talked about a long time ago. Is you know we make these big changes. We have to give people the time they need to adapt. It doesn't mean we're not going to do it, but maybe we go slower. Um, and that's it. So I wish you ooh, the best of luck. I had one other thought. I actually did some research and I learned something. The your voice box doesn't move. Your voice box, while it has some thickness to it, it's not a tube, and I thought it was. Okay. Um, it's actually two flaps of skin in your neck, connected at the front, loose at the back, and depending on the pitch, it opens this way. Okay, like it's not going to do it like that. Ooh. But it changes the shape of these two muscles, okay, depending on the sound, as well as if this was a cross section. Okay, this is like looking down. The flaps of skin are here. Let's go like that, or like that. Um, it also can. Well, I do better this way. Can do this. Okay, so here you have this tube, okay, or opening, and it can change its shape this way. Okay, and so I kind of thought it was just a tube, like you blow on the top of it, and it alters the length of the vibrating column of air. But that's not true. It's this, like I said, it's two flaps of skin and this muscle. Okay, and I think that's kind of neat. So I guess what I'm saying is my explanation was totally wrong. And I did post a link to that video that actually showed someone singing. Sorry, my cats. And it showed how it can change shape and how those flaps of skin work. It's kind of neat. Kind of neat. All right. Um. Anyway, that's it. Bye bye. Whoop 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 whoop. Not yet. Not yet. Sorry. Cat wants some attention. Don't we all? Till next time. Bye bye. Good luck, my friends. Hang in there.